Welcome to OreoOlive.com. As you know, Oreo olives don't mix, but the abstract thought of putting those two words together has enlightened me to create a channel to discuss various topics. On today's episode, people, I want to do one of the last part of the series that I've been doing with fatherhood, and this particular topic is going to be fatherhood and the community. So, when we're looking at the fatherhood and community, people, what I want to highlight is the roles of the community and support in fatherhood. So, I'm basically just going to be sharing a couple of examples of communities that support fathers and the ways in which fathers can build a supportive network, also being able to build and become pillars within your community. Now, as we know, fatherhood and community can be closely linked to one another. And there are several key points that I want to consider when exploring the intersection of this. I'm going to be going over five different points that I want to just bring up, with this. But one of the first things that I want to talk about is fathers play a very important role in building and strengthening their communities. So, how does that happen? Well, when fathers are involved in their children's lives, what happens from that transaction is they contribute to the development of new generations of responsible and engaged citizens. You can go anywhere on the planet and just look. You can go and sit at any gas station, any grocery store, go to a ballpark, go to any public place and just sit back and look at what fathers are doing. Now, whether they are married or not, which I definitely, would I definitely prefer that when seeing the family together, that you're seeing everybody together. Once you see the mother, the father, and the children there. And what happens is, and I've talked about this on the first series of the episode when I was talking about fatherhood tips and advice on fathers being in the children's lives, which is the most important factor because when the children are seeing their father being there and the father, being engaged and prioritizing family over career, when that father is there, just the fact of them being there and being able to be an influence in their child's life is definitely going to help further generations down the line. So when that father becomes a grandfather, it's because the children see that they were brought up in a two-parent household and they want to share the same values and morals that their parents were creating. And it's a continuous effort as more generations are come, and those fathers are definitely helping, contributing to those kids becoming more engaged citizens and repeating the process over and over again. Now, one of the second points is the community support can also be beneficial for fathers. So when you look at it, from the perspective of those who may be facing challenges such as unemployment or societal isolation, there are programs and services that can provide resources and connection that can support and help fathers navigate these challenges to become effective parents. So I'm not going to get into the welfare state because there's too many videos on that on YouTube that you can refer to look at that perspective of it. But what I'm talking about is the fathers who are proactively being responsible and being pillars within their community. I don't care if they despite whatever social economic status that they're on, whether they're a sanitation worker or they work in a fast food restaurant or work in a factory or have a high net worth paying job. No matter what their job is that they have, when they're bringing something into the house and contributing, as long as they're doing that, the mother's there and they're able to put on the to provide the child with the basic necessities to survive in life is also within that networking community. So when that father, if that father was to lose his job, he should have a community of other fathers around who are able to help him get back on his feet to be able to provide for his family. All too often, we see so many videos of people discussing how families are being divided apart, and that breaks down the strong network within the community. But I want to be opposite of that and talk about the positivity aspect of this because the fathers need a strong community support and network. It should be a mesh network of interconnectivity. Now, one of the third points is fatherhood can also provide an opportunity for men to become more involved in their communities. So, not only with them being involved in their home, but also in the community as well. Now, when fathers engage in their children's schools, sports teams, or other activities, that helps them build relationships with other parents and caregivers. And so that can create a sense of belonging and connection. How many of you grew up back in the 90s where when you met when you met a new friend, what used to happen is the parents would go to that friend's house. They would meet the parents. They would know what's going on in the house. The fathers would build a mutual understanding. The mothers would build a mutual understanding. So now, if that child is riding on the other side of the block, used to when that child would ride on the other side of the block, and their parents saw they were doing something bad, what happened? They would stop them. They would stop them. They would talk to them and get them back in line. Today's society, we don't have as much as that because yes, there's a lot of, a lot of times the father may not be in the kid's life or the child's life, but when that father is engaging in more activities, other people are able to say, you know what, those are, the Joneses, and they see, okay, Mr. Jones is over here, Miss Jones is over here, and the kids are here. Oh man, that father right there is doing an excellent job with his children. He have his children in line. They know that you're not playing. So that's what we need more of. That's what needs to be talked about more is making sure that we have the network of fathers who are constantly engaged in their child's life. So that way their children are able to see that their father is around and they're safe and they're protected. Now, one of the fourth points is looking into the community involvement, which can be um, a source of resilience and support for fathers' mental health. So, when fathers have a strong network of people and of parents and caregivers, they may be able to better cope with the stress and challenges that may come along the lines with that. So, it is very important. I can't stress it any more than what I can stress it. But that that community also has that strong network to make sure and help make sure that that father is successful. So the community and the aspect of the father is able to find work. If the father's not able to find work, the father should be able to pick up the phone and call somebody to get help so they can get back onto their feet to provide. Um, Having other parents to talk to, whether if you want to go see a professional therapist or not. Some people don't like therapy, but just being able to at least talk to a neighbor across the street. See, neighbors used to actually talk to one another and create that community. Because in a community, you control things. In a neighborhood, you do not. And we would have to build stronger communities to foster the better growth of our children. Now, the fifth and last point on this topic is the benefits of fatherhood have to extend beyond the immediate family to a broader community. And I've been going over that back and forth in this particular episode, but research has shown that when fathers are involved in their children's life, they contribute to better outcomes in areas such as education, health, and social well-being. And that's true. Now, that's not to say that children who are raised in single-parent homes, that's not to say that they won't be successful. But think about when you have two parties there. So when you have two parties that's bringing in an average income and they're putting those together to making ends meet, to provide the basic necessities of putting food on the table, clothes on your back, and being able to get you through life to when you're able to graduate high school and leave home. When you have two parents that they're more than likely to be able to be more successful in those areas that I just previously discussed. And so we have to talk about those kinds of things because I don't feel like a lot of people actually like to look into those things, but it's very important because we need those. But overall, when you're looking at fatherhood and the community, you have to understand that they are all closely intertwined. They're all together. They're all mixed together. But when fathers are engaged in their children's, in their communities, then they are able to contribute to the well-being of their families and a broader community. So that's basically encouraging and supporting fathers in their parenting roles can have a positive impact on individuals and communities alike. As they say, it takes a village to raise a kid. I've always heard that term. But I hope that today's episode really helped give you some insight on what that actually means. And it meaning that we're able to create a much more positive impact. So, people, that wraps up today's episode on fatherhood and community. And I hope that you learned something about I hope you learned something with me highlighting just the different community, the roles and support for fatherhood and everything to build much more stronger and supportive networks. Like, listen, and subscribe to the channel as that helps the channel out and helps me continue to grow to provide you these awesome videos. Until then, people, peace.